Every time I helped my mother with the household cleaning growing up, she would continually look over my shoulder, inspect the work, and repeat these words: "A good cleaner has to move things." With dusting, you moved all the things off the bookshelf, dusted the bookshelf, dusted off each item individually, and then put the items back in their original places. With vacuuming, you moved the furniture, vacuumed, and then moved the furniture back into place. To this day, when I clean, I hear the sweet, southern but commanding voice of my mother. "Danny boy, a good cleaner has to move things. A good cleaner has to get down below the surface." In our gospel reading this morning, Jesus engages his opponents in a similar discussion about ceremonial and moral house cleaning. Jesus' opponents seem to think that surface cleaning will do the trick. Outward behavior is what matters. Let's be clear. Jesus is not implying that these behaviors are in and of themselves detrimental. In fact, who wants to eat with anyone under any circumstances without them washing their hands first? These days, people are instructed to wash their hands for sanitary reasons, not holiness reasons, as described in Mark's Gospel. They didn't know anything about all of those pathogens back in the first century. Still, there are plenty of holiness rules alive and well today in our churches that detract us from the weightier matters of faith and life. In what order must the acolyte light the candles, left to right or right to left? Is there an unspoken dress code for worship? How is the kitchen organized? Who is in charge of it? And where do we start with using non-disposable utensils? That's an ongoing debate in our Care for Creation team. Our red poinsettia is allowed as part of the sanctuary on Advent 4 when it's the same day as Christmas Eve. Can you serve both wine and grape juice or only wine for communion? The church has continuing debates over these matters. We need to be careful about our judgment of the Pharisees and the disciples here. Oh, the Pharisees were mild compared to the whole host of presumably moral and righteous housekeepers in our day who run around quoting checklists off their refrigerator doors, thumping the Bible to back up their own moral causes and pet peeves, and publishing voting guides on all the politicians. You want to guarantee your fidelity to the Almighty in your personal morality? Refrain from cursing, smoking, drinking, and carousing. Steer clear of all the evil sites on the internet. Don't get addicted to the cable news. You want to show off your fidelity to the Almighty in your positions of social morality, right or left? Well, let's magically post the 10 Commandments on every judge's wall. Pass anti-hate legislation so no one will hate anymore, like that's going to do that. Rid the world of all guns and sue the tobacco companies out of business. Now that touches the toes of some of the people I know in North Carolina. Take care of all these externals and we'll make the world safe and clean for God. But Jesus slips right through our go through the motions, spot checking, housekeeping moralism, and says, "For it is from within, from the human heart, that evil intentions come. Surface cleaning avoids the deep-seated cesspool of sin and unclean intention. The Lord is a different kind of housekeeper, as the great Lutheran preacher Paul Scherer once proclaimed, and I quote, "What if it should come to us that we cannot have the God we want, a God who never moves the furniture around or upsets anything, just sees to it every day with his feather duster that what we are already is in apple pie order? What if it should come to us that the God we have will never keep house like that?" Our God is the housekeeper who moves things to search for the core of the sinfulness, not out there somewhere, but in here, in the heart. This is the God, in the old words of the original hymn book that I grew up with, the God to whom all hearts are open, all desires known, and from whom no secrets are hid. Several weeks ago, I reached into the fruit basket in our house for an afternoon snack. There it was, the firm, red California nectarine. Shiny, juicy, crisp, not a blemish on the skin. I bit into it, a big bite all the way to the pit. Yuck. The fruit around the pit was bruised, bitter, and diseased. It tasted terrible. On the surface, my nectarine looked great, but it was rotting from the core outward. For it is from within, from the human heart, that evil intentions come. The core county seat of sin is, in the words of Luther, the human heart curved in on itself. Not the world out there, nor all the bad people along the Mexican border, nor Washington, D.C., nor Harrisburg, nor any other external reality is the root cause of our sin. Only a spiritual heart cleansing, a deep cleaning gospel word will do the thorough job. The gospel news comes from the God who comes to us from the outside, who is the perfect housekeeper, who comes into us and moves things. There are no gimmicks, no novelty cleansers, only the pure, precious, and powerful blood of Christ that washes away our sinful inclinations and intentions that get clothed in so many external manifestations. We have here in holy baptism not merely a douse of rinsed water over the skin, but a surgical, deep, internal bath for our whole heart within. We have here a deep cleaning event that creates a clean heart that sings a new song. You are clean. You are forgiven from the core outward. You are free to clean up the world where you can, as long as you never forget that your own heart never gets beyond or above that same cleanup operation. Or in the words of Carl Sandburg, that are placed in one of our bathrooms at home, the prayer says, "Lord, when I wake up in the morning, help me to see in the eyes of the jailbird my only